The first impression humanity made on the galactic stage was an awkward handshake, literally. Captain Arya Jansen had been given the honor of greeting the Eston ambassador at the Interstellar Summit, only to discover that Estons had no hands, only 6 delicate tendrils they used for touch communication. The translator politely informed her afterward that she had just aggressively proposed trade negotiations. The ambassador accepted. Humanity, unintentionally, became known as decisive. That was 6 months ago. Today, they were considered underqualified, but entertaining. The established species tolerated them within smiles and polite distance, as a humanity were an enthusiastic intern that might explode if unsupervised. Arya found that description worryingly accurate. Now, humanity had volunteered for a rescue mission after an attack by the Zelkeri, an empire famous for elite soldiers, brutal tactics, and a total absence of humor. No alliance force had ever successfully repelled them on first contact. Humanity offered to try. Some called it bravery. Most called it poor statistical awareness. Captain Arya waited on the bridge of the Resolute Dawn as the warp drive cooled. Her dark eyes scanned the glowing thread analysis on the forward display. Signals from the Eston colony. Fading, scattered, urgent. The Zelkeri had arrived with purpose. "We're about to exit FDL," reported Eli Park from the engineering station. "Just a warning. I had to recalibrate the jump vector manually because apparently alien navigation interfaces assume humans have 5 fingers on each hand and telepathic instincts." Arya allowed herself a brief smile. Did it work? It worked. Will it work again? Eli shrugged. That depends on how friendly space feels today. Rex Donovan strolled onto the bridge, his rifle magnetically locked to his back, and a grin like he'd just joined the best party in the galaxy. Officially, he was their marksman. Unofficially, he was their chaos. His boots echoed with confidence that had not yet been approved by any scientific discipline. "So, who are we saving?" he asked. "And how outnumbered are we?" Mira Solano entered behind him, brushing a strand of hair from her face, carrying a handheld scanner modified with stickers and hope. She was a dreamer, the team's anthropologist and cultural analyst. Idealistic, brilliant, a stubborn believer in peaceful solutions. "We're saving diplomats," she said. "And, technically, we haven't seen the enemy yet. They might want to talk." Rex laughed. "Mira, the Zelkeri don't negotiate. They invade. They burn. They conquer." "Yes," she replied calmly. "But we haven't met these Zelkeri yet." Eli rolled his eyes. "And I haven't tested this warp stabilizer by setting it on fire. But some outcomes are predictable." Arya studied her crew. Different minds. Different strengths. Yet they all shared one thing. When situations turned impossible, they didn't break. They bent. That was the human advantage. "Brace." Arya ordered. "We're dropping out of FDL in 3, 2, 1. Space unfolded on the view screen. Eston Colony Theta shimmered in the distance, its domed structures cracked and smoking. Wreckage drifted like frozen confetti. No response from the colony. Only static. Then the first Zelkeri vessels appeared. Sleek, crimson, predatory. "Multiple contacts," Eli muttered. "Their ships are moving in formation. Perfect formation. That's intimidating." Rex's rifle hummed to life on his back. Finally, a welcome party. The Zelkeri detected them instantly. A broadcast ping arrived, translated across comms. "Unaffiliated human vessel. Leave immediately. Your survival rate is 0%. Eli whistled. "They're polite. They included math." Arya responded with controlled calm. "This is Captain Arya Jansen of the Resolute Dawn. We are here to evacuate Eston civilians." Evacuation denied. Conflict zone closed. Mira frowned at the comm display. "They're not angry. That was just procedural. Like, we're another checklist." Rex grinned. "Let's become the box they can't tick." Arya knew the Alliance considered humanity impulsive, so she needed to be precise, methodical. Her voice held steady authority. "We have 2 minutes before they open fire." Eli scanned for weaknesses. "Mira, try diplomatic channels." "Rex, prepare for defense but hold fire until ordered." Rex raised his hands. holding fire, not promising good behavior. Mira began transmitting peaceful proposals across multiple frequencies, embedding them with emotional cues. It earned a single response. Humans, your strategies are primitive. You will be removed. Well, Eli sighed, that's rude. Arya watched the Zelkari formation shift. They positioned themselves like a blade. Efficient, deadly, predictable. Good, she whispered. Predictable means readable. The conflict began with a flash. An energy beam sliced through the void, grazing their shields. Eli rerouted power instantly. Shields at 60. I can reinforce them, but it'll be ugly. Ugly works, Arya said. Do it. Myra's eyes widened. Captain, they're not firing to destroy us. They're probing. Testing us, Arya replied. Let's surprise them. Rex leaned forward. Permission to show them what human aiming looks like. Arya hesitated, then nodded once. One warning shot. Nothing lethal. Rex tapped his visor and interfaced with targeting systems. The ship's sensors weren't designed for sharpshooting, but he didn't seem to care. He angled a shot off an asteroid fragment drifting nearby. The energy pulse ricocheted across space, zigzagging unpredictably, before skimming the shield of a Zelkari cruiser. Silence followed. Then their formation broke. Mira stared in disbelief. They're confused. Arya felt a rare thrill of hope. They've never seen a shot like that before. Eli blinked at his screen. Their ships are recalibrating. They're rewriting their targeting equations. Rex, what was that shot based on? Rex shrugged. Instinct. And I bounced a pencil off a wall to see how it felt. Mira put a hand to her mouth. Stifling laughter. You tested their military precision. Using office supplies? Rex saluted. Scientific method. He declared. Aria's comms crackled again. No translation this time. Just raw alien speech. The tone was unmistakable. Fear. They're retreating from firing range, Eli reported. They don't understand us. That makes them hesitant. Mira exhaled softly. Our unpredictability terrifies them. Arya turned toward her crew. No speech was needed. For the first time since arrival, humanity held the advantage. The resolute Dawn advanced toward the damaged colony. The enemy didn't fire again. The galaxy's bravest soldiers had stepped back, not from power, but from uncertainty. As the rescue shuttles deployed, Rex gazed at the stars and murmured, almost proudly, they thought we'd fight like soldiers. They didn't expect us to think like humans. Arya allowed herself a quiet nod. Humanity had just taken aim, and somewhere in the Zelkari ranks, someone trembled. The colony's outer domes looked like shattered glass embedded in ice, their once pristine surfaces fracturing under the weight of smoke and panic. The rescue teams dispersed quickly, guiding terrified Essen civilians into the shuttles. No enemy ships approached, yet unease lingered like a lingering echo. Too quiet for a battlefield. Too quiet for the Zelkari. Arya surveyed the evacuation zone from the command platform. They've pulled back, she said, but they haven't left. This is observation. Eli adjusted his patched-together wrist module, its screen flickering from improvised repairs. Their text signatures are faint, but still here. They're mapping our behavior through passive scans. No aggression, just analysis. Mira checked her bioscanner, noting heart rate stabilizing among the civilians as shuttles lifted off. She spoke softly but with certainty. They're learning us, like a puzzle they expect to solve. And what happens, Rex said, stepping beside her, when they piece us together? Mira didn't answer. She didn't have to. Moments later, a Zelkari scan spike ruptured comms, creating static-laced interference. Eli cursed under his breath. That's directed jamming. They're blocking transmissions to orbit. Our shuttles are flying blind up there. Aria's jaw tightened. Then we don't make it easy. Find cover. Prepare for pursuit. We'll regroup inside the research outpost east of the landing zone. The word pursuit didn't need to be repeated. The Zelkari never attacked recklessly. They hunted with method and purpose, like surgeons dissecting a living opponent. The only safe place was one they didn't expect humans to use. The research facility sat crooked atop a ridge, half-powered and forgotten. Its corridors flickered with unstable lighting, and each metal footstep sounded too loud in the stale air. Eli immediately began scavenging for tools, tearing open panels with the methodical frenzy of someone who treated panic as motivation. "This tech's a gold mine," he said, disconnecting a power node. "Eston design is clean, beautiful, predictable." He dug into his satchel and pulled out a wad of tinfoil, a gum wrapper, and a military-grade screwdriver. Time to make something ugly. Arya stood guard near the entrance with Rex, who kept his rifle poised. "Status?" "Working," Eli answered, "in a way that'll make engineers weep." Mira knelt beside a damaged console linked to colony communications. "Their signals are still echoing through the network. Jamming is selective, but powerful. Maybe we can route around it." "You're not a tech specialist," Arya warned. Mira smiled gently. "No, I analyze languages, including the language of fear." She began listening to Zelkari transmissions, rhythmic, structured, rigid. Each command carried a tone like a ritual. She shifted frequencies, layered patterns, and carefully inserted false data, like a singer adding a discordant note to a flawless melody. The first burst of static vanished. Eli looked over his shoulder. "You just bypassed their comm lock?" Mira shook her head. "I sang off-key until their system rejected it." Rex whistled. "We're weaponizing bad music now." "It isn't bad," she replied. "It's surprising. They have no diplomatic word for improvisation." Eli grinned. "Hope they learn fast." But the Zelkari had learned fast. A proximity alert shrieked from Aria's risk communicator. "Enemy units inbound. Multiple signatures. Closing quick." "Positions," she ordered. The facility's reinforced interior became a fragile shield. Rex scanned the terrain through a cracked window slit. "They're coordinated. 3 flanking squads. They're driving us inward, hurting us." Aria's eyes narrowed. "They're trying to predict our retreat." "Which means," Eli added, tightening the last component of his improvised scanner, "we only survive by staying unpredictable." He lifted the device, half alien, half human, entirely unstable. The screen flickered with ghostly sensor echoes, then stabilized enough to reveal tactical data normally hidden behind military encryption. Arya stared in disbelief. "You just cracked Zelkari encryption?" "I cracked their confidence," he replied. "Turns out their logic can't process duct tape." Mira pointed to the map he'd generated. "They're preparing for a concentrated strike within 3 minutes. They expect us to flee through the south corridor." Rex smirked. "Good. We sprint north." Arya shook her head. "No. They'll anticipate simple inversion. We need misdirection, not flight. Create a false trail south. We hold north, ready to break formation once they commit." Eli swept debris aside and used emergency power to generate false thermal signatures. Mira encoded distress signals in broken Zelkari syntax. Rex waited at the north entrance, finger on his trigger but eyes calm, calculating. Footsteps echoed in the hallway. Heavy, measured, close. Arya whispered. Positions, not a sound. A Zelkari squad entered the southern corridor, just as predicted. The decoy trail held. They advanced with clinical confidence, scanning empty rooms, following illusions humans had crafted from junk and instinct. Then hesitation. The squad leader paused mid-step. Mira leaned toward the console. "He's sensing emotional discontinuity," she realized. The signals they sent were flawed in ways no algorithm could accept. Rex whispered. "They found the lie." "Not yet," Mira replied. "They're trying to understand it." That bought them 6 precious seconds. Enough for Arya to change the game. "Now," she commanded. Rex fired, not to kill, but to fracture support beam. The corridor collapsed behind the Zelkari, sealing them inside a temporary trap. Eli cut power to the entire wing. "They'll break out soon. Fast. Then we move before they can adapt." Arya said. "Extraction path?" Mira pointed toward a natural ravine east of the facility. "Terrain works against their scanners, and their combat doctrine says the area is tactically irrelevant." Rex grinned. "My favorite kind of area." They escaped through a broken service hatch as the building groaned behind them. The night air was sharp and clean after the recycled heat of the facility. Above, the stars glimmered like scattered silver across black glass. The shuttles had launched successfully. Civilians were safe. They had bought time, but not safety. A distant rumble stirred the sky. Zelkeri transports were descending, larger ones. They adapted to our misdirection, Mira whispered. Eli raised the scanner. Yeah, and they're coming back smarter. Arya studied the stars and the encroaching threat between them. Then we adapt again. Rex cracked his neck with anticipation. Good. I hate finishing a fight early. There was no triumph here, only survival. But the galaxy's bravest now hesitated, and humans didn't. The ravine stretched like a scar across the land, natural cover carved by centuries of wind and erosion. Arya led the descent, boots crunching softly against the gravel. The Zelkeri transports rumbled overhead, slow but relentless, their engines pulsing like a heartbeat made of iron. The hunt had escalated, no longer reconnaissance. Now it was pursuit, yet the team did not run. They studied. We've crossed from observation to extermination, Arya said, kneeling behind a jut of stone. They've identified us as anomalies. That makes us hazardous. Rex unslung his rifle, resting it on his shoulder. I prefer the term fun challenge. Eli checked his hybrid scanner, its screen shaking between readable data and digital panic. I'm still pulling enemy patterns, but their system has adjusted. They've begun incorporating our tactics into their models. Mira paled. They're learning improvisation? No, Eli said. They're learning to expect it, which means we're halfway to being predictable. Arya absorbed that. Predictability meant defeat. Their only advantage existed on the boundary between instinct and chaos, where data faltered and human intuition thrived. They reached a valley obscured by low clouds and mineral interference. The mist dampened sensors and sight lines, an environmental wild card. Zelkeri doctrine labeled such areas too unstable for standard warfare. The humans called it opportunity. Arya motioned them into cover. We won't outrun pursuit. We have one objective: disrupt Zelkeri momentum. Prove that adaptation has consequences. By consequences, Rex said hopefully, you mean explosions? Only if necessary. His grin widened. It'll be necessary. While he scouted elevation points, Eli sat against a boulder, pulling apart his device with surgical urgency. Mira watched in quiet fascination. You're rewiring again? I'm adapting. He slipped two cables together. Sparks jumped. He winced. The best kind of engineering is immediate regret followed by success. Arya glanced over. What are you building? A false interpretable pattern, Eli explained. They think we fight like anomalies? Fine. I'll give them an anomaly they can track, but not understand. A pattern just coherent enough to follow, but just unstable enough to break their focus when they commit. A trap with rhythm, Mira murmured. You're weaponizing mathematical hesitation. Rex returned, crouching beside them. I found sight lines across the ridge. A Zelkeri squad is scouting the perimeter. Elite units. Their gear's better than what we've seen. Arya looked up sharply. Elite. Armor Class 9. Marked insignia. They're the kind legends warn about. Mira pressed her scanner to the ground. Zelkeri elite forces are known for impeccable accuracy, unmatched across the Alliance. Rex gave a quiet, unapologetic smile. They haven't met Earth. The tension shifted. Not fear, but anticipation. The first Zelkeri squad advanced through the mist. They moved with terrifying discipline. Silent, synchronized, flawless in formation. Their helmets glowed with scanning beams, parsing air density, thermal variance, and movement signatures. Eli switched on his device. A pulsing signal radiated from the ravine. Tiny fluctuations, human-engineered, subtle enough to mimic tactical intent. The Zelkeri slowed. Their scanners detected a trail, disjointed, inconsistent, but solvable. They followed. Arya whispered, "Hold positions." Hidden in the mist, the humans became stillness itself. Mira monitored the squad. They're pursuing the signal. Their focus is narrowing around it. Their leader is calculating. Something doesn't align. "They're seeing inconsistencies," Arya said. "Just not fast enough." Rex lifted his rifle. "Permission to demonstrate human inconsistency?" Arya hesitated, then nodded once. Rex fired, not at the squad, but at a cluster of rocks 30 meters ahead. The round hit with a high-pitched ping, ricocheting at an impossible angle. It struck a secondary stone, altering trajectory into a third, before bouncing directly past the squad's flank. It did no damage, but the sound echoed in 3 locations at once. The Zelkeri froze. Their formation faltered, just 1 heartbeat's hesitation. Then Rex fired again, this time at the squad leader's targeting node. The shot struck true. A direct hit, not lethal, but surgically precise. The elite commander staggered back, helmet flickering with warnings. Their calculations, perfect seconds ago, now flooded with unknown variables. Mira stared in disbelief. That shot, it shouldn't be physically possible. Rex reloaded. Exactly. The Zelkeri elite regrouped, but slower now, uncertainty cracking their unity. Arya seized a moment. Move! They surged from cover, using fog and fractured terrain like extensions of their own will. Eli triggered his device again, creating unpredictable pulses. The Zelkeri responded with textbook formations, yet every maneuver arrived a second too late. As they retreated through the ravine, Mira turned to Arya. They're recalculating emotional responses. They don't know whether to classify us as danger or phenomenon. Arya kept running. Let them debate. A second squad appeared on the ridge, another elite unit, sharpshooters. Their rifles gleamed with advanced stabilization, mechanically enhanced precision. Rex slowed, eyes narrowing. They brought snipers. Arya faced him. "We don't want a standoff." "No," he said, raising his rifle. "We want a contradiction." He switched to manual aiming. No guidance systems. No calibration. Only instinct. The enemy snipers took aim. Rex pulled the trigger. The shot vanished into the mist, silent as breath. One of the Zelkeri rifles exploded. Not shattered, not malfunctioned, just negated. Mira gasped. "How?" "He didn't target the rifle," Eli said softly. "He targeted the harmonic feedback between its stabilizers, the perfect spot where too much control becomes instability." Rex lowered his weapon, exhaling smoke. Precision is predictable. Imperfection isn't. The Zelkeri snipers hesitated. Their legendary accuracy wavered. For the first time, the bravest warriors in the galaxy were no longer certain. They fell back, not in defeat, but in hesitation. The ravine grew quiet. Arya placed a hand on Rex's shoulder. "You've just rewritten their military doctrine." He wiped sweat from his brow. "Let's hope their doctrine can't shoot back." Eli checked the scanner. Enemy signals decreasing. They've paused pursuit. Mira studied the sky, her voice a soft echo. They've discovered something they don't know how to measure, human intent. Arya looked toward the ridge, where elite warriors withdrew beneath turbulent clouds. Humanity had just done what no species had before. They made the Zelkeri think twice. But as their comms flickered back to life, one transmission arrived, translated and clear. "Humans, you are no longer anomalies. You are threats." Arya met the team's eyes. Their victory had earned them danger and respect. Dawn crept slowly across the ravine, painting the earth with muted gold, as if uncertain whether humanity deserved light after the night they had survived. Arya stood on a ridge, watching the clouds part. The Zelkeri had retreated hours ago. Not defeated, just cautious. They hunted many species, but only humanity had made them hesitate. Caution was victory. Eli had finally stopped rewiring his device. The hybrid scanner lay beside him, silent yet remarkable, like a relic salvaged from a future not yet written. He sat on the ground with a tired grin. "I'd patent it," he said, "but I'm pretty sure half of it violates physics." Arya gave a rare smile. "Physics never questions your methods, only your results." Rex stretched, muscles protesting the previous night's exertion. His rifle rested beside him, cooling like a loyal hound after the hunt. "Think we'll get medals for this?" Mira shook her head, tending to the displaced civilians gathered at the base of the ridge. Not medals. Probably briefings. Panels. Diplomatic conferences. Rex grimaced. All the worst forms of punishment. Yet beneath his dramatics lay exhaustion, earned deep and quiet. Mira noticed a tremor in his hands as he reloaded emergency power cells. She made no comment. Silently, she handed him a warm compression wrap. He accepted it with a nod that felt like gratitude. They had faced elite warriors and lived, not by matching alien strength, but by rewriting the rules they fought by. The comm system crackled back to life. A clear transmission arrived, the Alliance High Command. Arya answered, "This is Captain Jansen." "Captain, you are confirmed alive. The civilians are safe. We are dispatching reinforcements. However, your engagement report has raised urgent questions." "Understood," Arya replied, voice calm. "We will submit our findings once secured." There was a pause, then the unexpected. "Captain, the Zelkari have requested a ceasefire and an audience with humanity." The transmission ended. Silence stretched across the ridge like another dawn. Rex blinked. "They want to talk? After that?" Mira stood, astonishment glowing in her eyes. "They don't want surrender. They want understanding." Eli raised an eyebrow. "Or new tactics." "Maybe both," Arya said. The research facility had been abandoned, but its conference hall, scarred and soot-streaked, still stood. Hours later, its cracked windows reflected the silhouettes of diplomats, soldiers, and one species no longer sure how to categorize humans. The first Zelkari envoy arrived wearing ceremonial armor, not polished, not proud, studied, deliberate. The envoy bowed slightly, not submissive, but respectful. Their voice resonated through the translator. "We study strength. You showed us something beyond strength. It disrupts." Mira stepped forward gently. "It isn't disruption. It's hope. Creativity born from necessity. Perhaps even fear." The envoy paused. "Your marksman breaks probability. Your engineer breaks logic. Your leader redirects fate. And your empath sees purpose where we see statistic. We do not understand you. That makes us cautious." Arya interjected. "We do not seek conquest, only survival and connection." The envoy considered this. "We request training, guidance. We seek to understand how you break pattern, how you fight without rules." Rex leaned to Eli. "I think we just got asked to teach chaos." Eli whispered back, "That should be the title of your autobiography." Mira approached the envoy. "Then let us start not with weapons, but with dialogue." The Zelkari bowed again, this time lower. Diplomacy began, not from power, but from uncertainty treated with care. Days passed. The colony stabilized. Esthon children gifted drawings to their human protectors. Some depicted humans as knights, others as strange sorcerers wielding improbable angles. Rex kept one in his rifle case. Communication with the Alliance became clearer. Humanity would be granted a seat on the High Council, a symbolic gesture, perhaps, but symbols shape narratives, and narratives shape fear into respect. Eli received a request from the Science Division for his hybrid tactical device. He submitted blueprints that included gum wrappers, tape, and a note reading, "Spite is renewable energy." The review team asked if this was humor or methodology. He replied, "Yes." Mira initiated cultural exchange protocols with 3 species. Her first requirement: food samples, variety preferred. She believed conversation began with shared meals. Arya believed conversation began with shared risks. Both approaches worked. Rex was asked to speak at the Command Academy. He arrived with a handwritten manifesto titled "The Laws of Human Marksmanship." It contained 45 rules, all contradictory. His first lecture was scheduled for 10 minutes. It lasted 3 hours. Cadets took furious notes. Arya declined every interview request. She spent her mornings writing debrief reports and her evenings walking the repaired colony grounds, learning the contours of peace as carefully as she once studied terrain for battle. Leadership, she understood, was not sustained by victory, but by purpose. One evening, she walked to the ridge where the ravine met the sky. Rex sat there already. Wordlessly, she joined him. They're going to write about us, he said. They already have, she replied. Tell me, he said, watching the horizon soften. Do you think we changed anything? Really, Arya looked out at the stars, once distant, now vibrant with possibility. We showed them something important. What's that? That humanity never aimed for dominance. She breathed the calm air. We just aimed for survival and found precision along the way. Rex smiled. Think they'll ever understand us? Understanding isn't required, Arya said. Only respect. He nodded, satisfied. Then, with that crooked grin he never quite controlled, he chalked a new line on the ridge's stone surface, a ritual he'd begun without permission but with meaning. Rule number 46. The universe underestimates humans exactly once. He put the chalk away and walked into the dawn. Arya watched him go. The ravine was quiet. The world was healing. The galaxy was listening. Humanity had taken aim, and now it would take its place.